Hello, this is Julia of the Yoga Teachers Forum, and I'm here today with Jenni Stone. Hi, Jenni.
Hi, Julia. Lovely to see you.
And Jenni is going to share with us her knowledge of teaching yoga to people who are experiencing cancer. And I'd just like to start, Jenni, by asking you a little bit about your experience of teaching yoga to people who are experiencing cancer. I think that you work with CancerKin at the moment, is that right?
Yes, although they have now merged with Maggie's, which is a national charity. But yes, it was CancerKin for like 25 years, and that's where I started, first of all, as a reflexologist. And I was there for many years. And then when a vacancy came up there, their yoga teacher moved on. And it just felt like a really natural progression to then take on teaching the class as well. Having had such a good understanding of how cancer is affecting the patients who came to the centre and the kind of support that they needed. So I was, really happy to take that on.
And that charity, do they help people with a specific form of cancer, or is it various different cancers that they deal with?
So CancerKin was specifically a breast cancer charity. And then gradually they started branching out a little bit more. And as they've merged with Maggie's, it's open to anyone with a cancer diagnosis. So it can be literally any type of cancer at any point.
And how do you feel that teaching this group differs from teaching a general yoga class?
I mean, in some ways there's a lot of similarities. You still sort of treat them as you would any student that comes in, and on an individual basis, looking at what their needs are. I think with an understanding of the sorts of treatments they're going through, their energy levels, the fact that they may have various tubes that are left in long term, so you can have a port in the chest or you can have some in the arms. A lot of them have breast cancer. Lymphedema is an issue. So there are certain groups of asana that I tend to shy away from because I know they're just not really going to be suitable for most of the people in the class. But it is very varied. You get people of all ages there. And also, with a lot of the older students that are there, often cancer isn't the only thing that they're dealing with. They might have an arthritic knee, or they, may have kyphosis in the neck. So, there's sort of some usual stuff and some unusual stuff that's in there.
Great. Thank you for explaining that. So you're going to be sharing a half-day workshop with us on cancer and yoga. Yeah. And I'd just like to ask you, there might be people who teach a general class who find that someone comes to their class and they get a diagnosis of cancer and they don't want to move to a different class. They feel that they have they want to allow things to continue on as normally as they can. What would you say to that teacher?
Well, that could be a bit of a longer conversation than we have time for, but I think an important part of working with people with cancer, I think, is to not to sort of stigmatize them. I think sometimes there's a fear around cancer, and that's part of what I wanted to do this workshop for, because we're getting to a state now where you're looking at 50% of the population at some point in their lifetime will get some form of cancer diagnosis. So this is going to be a more and more common occurrence that someone may come to their regular class and go, oh, well, I've just had a test and they found that, I've got this type of cancer that I'm dealing with. So I would say, I suppose, in a nutshell, that you maintain the communication with them. You let them you try to empower them to be in charge of their own practice as much as possible. Give them permission to modify, to stop, to do whatever they need to do to feel comfortable in their class, but making them feel welcome. And perhaps depending on the severity and what the treatment is involved, that there may be some sort of communication with their team as well, or maybe asking them to get assurances from, their consultant that they're okay to carry on some form of practice. So cancer is not just one thing. It can be anything from a funny mole on the arm, which may not affect their practice at all, to colon cancer, and when they're going to have surgery and chemo. So yeah, it's kind of a difficult question to answer in a general way, but I hope that helped.
That certainly does help, because it is all about finding out what that individual person needs.
Yeah, it's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, you've given us a very good example. So there might be a situation where somebody says that they have cancer, and what that means is that they need a very different form of yoga support that may or may not mean that they can stay in the class. And there might be somebody else for whom that camaraderie of being in the group is what they need, and they know, because they've spoken to their consultant and they've spoken to you, that they can continue within their own realm of what they feel is okay, maybe sitting out, headstand or whatever it is.
And maybe just sort of having a bit of time to discuss a little bit about modifications they could do, or just alternatives, like, so when we're doing arm balances, you can do this instead, so they always have something else they can go to, so they still feel like they get a full class, but there's going to be some things, depending on the style of class the teacher has and maybe the level, so that sort of comes into it as well.
Yeah, and there may well be people who practice yoga themselves and find themselves in a situation where their partner or their best friend, or someone they know, is experiencing cancer. Are there tips that you think you can give to people that are like little things that they can do? They might not even be a yoga teacher, but they just want to be able to do something that is in the world of yoga that could support them.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to be covering that in the workshop, and it's going to be something that's also useful for people who perhaps do work with people in cancer in another capacity. They might be, say, an acupuncturist, or they might be a cancer nurse who want to be able to give something a little bit yoga based to the people they're with, or, like you say, for people who've got friends and family. So there'll be definitely some simple practices that we could offer, some breathing practices, some mindfulness, some relaxation. So there's lots of those kind of yoga practices that we'll be looking at. But we'll also be looking about communication skills, about the listening, the language that we use, and basically what our role is in supporting somebody, and so how we can best do that in a way that is actually helpful. Because I think quite often people, it tends to be one extreme or the other. They either are so scared of doing the wrong thing that they cut contact, or they're trying so hard to be helpful they can almost be a little bit dominating. It's like, right, this is what you need to do, and I've sorted out this for you and that for you, and equally that's not so helpful. So that's something that we're going to be discussing as well, is how we can support people, how we need to be around them that gives them the support that they need, really.
That's really helpful, because absolutely, sometimes you come across a diagnosis like cancer, and because you haven't been given the tools to help you support the person that you love or care for, or the person in your class, whoever it is, you don't necessarily know what to do, and
or what to say.
Exactly. So having somebody like yourself who is in that situation very, very often, you know how to be, so you can help other people feel comfortable. Okay, I've got a checklist here. Okay, I can do this. Okay, I can be like that. I really shouldn't be saying this.
Yes.
And then, however well-meaning we can be, we've got a better set of prints as to what is helpful and what isn't helpful.
Yeah, exactly. And so that people will come away with a bit more awareness and confidence to know that, because I think a lot of yoga teachers do have the skills already. It's just adding in the knowledge so that they know what tools to use in this situation. you know, because we have a huge tool bag as a yoga teacher, but we don't need to use all those tools on everyone all the time. So it's kind of giving some context, so that they will understand what's more appropriate in situations like that.
Thank you. So for those of us who are interested in being more cancer aware, more able to support people in our lives, whether we're teaching them or whether they're family or friends who have cancer, how can they find you, Jenni, and how can they find the half-day course that you'll be running?
So it will be on the Finchley Yoga Teachers Forum. So if you're a member of that group already, then the information will be there. It will be listed on the Finchley Yoga website, and it's also listed on my own website, which is jennitherapy.com. And there will be posts on Facebook, I believe, too.
And when is it? Where is it? Can you tell us when and where is it?
So it's at the Finchley Yoga Studio in Maple Close, and it's going to be on the 8th of July from 1:30 to 4:30. So it's a nice 3-hour afternoon that we can spend together.
Great. Thank you so much, Jenni. And
Pleasure.
I look forward to seeing you at the workshop in July.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Me too. Thank you.